Good morning. We start with Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga from the small booklet. From the heart of the Savior of 100 deities of Tushita, on a peak of cloud resembling a clam of extremely white fresh curd, King of Dhamma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me, on a lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 yawns to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanations is an ear ornament for those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lice, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows that I have collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in this degenerate age, and made your freedoms and richnesses meaningful. By abandoning the eight worldly concerns, Saviour, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy Gurus, from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound and extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigratory beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losandrapa's teachings to shine forever. Sajipaki Chushik Metok Tramari Dabling Shi Nidegyempadi Sangeshindu Migdeuwa Idrokunamdak Shila Chuparsho. By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his two sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teachings of the victorious one Losandrapa, who had a morality of eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of two stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. Now we recite 5-line Miktsema 3 times. Migme tsewe terchen chen resik drime gempe wampo jampe liang dupo malu jonze sawe dak ganchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa losan drape shabla sowade. Migme tsewe terchen chen resik Drime gempe wampo jampe liang dupo malu jonze sawe dak ganchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa losan drape shabla solwade. Migme tsewe terchen chen resik Drime gempe wampo jampe liang Dupo malu jonze sawe dak ganchen kepe tsungen tsongkapa losan drape shabla sowade.
Sangi chedan sogi chonnum la chanchu pardu dan gyabsun chi dagi chushi geban dag rolam penshi sangi drubar shu Sangi chedan sogi chonnum la chanchu pardu dan gyabsun dagi chushi geban dagi rolam penshi sangi drubar shu Sangye chedan soji chonum la chanchu pardu dan gyabsun dagi chushe geban dagi rolan ben sangye drubar sho kangi tukzi nizoni tawa tamche pambe shi tambi chun denze bi kwadam tela chanze lo shijin kyongan jawe lo ritu kesan nawe gengyu likshi su trabe peche lami zebi tondo tembe tunden la chanze Namo laye ke na lo no jing tribon da mi ke no ro ko ji da no chizam tham je ke do da gi chuden to Good morning everyone. Shokadele ke madu.
Big.
Için şures. Çıksın da.
Check 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Mm.
maybe this can open. Good. Da kode. Tabii de.
Oh, good.
Ya tabii ya. Ya. Namba sanji bigi timda nalo reta ani tebi nalo la teni rangel sejars rangel. Rangel digi 아니 담에 류기 남규르고니 아니 최대한지 연구열에서 계지지야 마시니 아니 도잘라 최대한 도자기 아니 고라야지 만절 디여봐야나 드니 기줄고 말아왔으라 담밀리 남규르고니 최대한테 니버테나 기줄고 말아왔으니 가버 강한테야다 인터넷 강한테야다 연구 말아왔으라
So in Buddhist path, there is a concept called solitary realizers. So the solitary realizers or Pratika Buddhas, what they does is they do teach others through their body language and expressions. And if I kind of have this ability to teach others with my body language and subtle expressions, then I wouldn't need a translator, and it will even ease many complications.
마지 담보 안켜서 가르치니 라 가리로지 콜롱키니 아닌데라 페바인스 라 소소 셈나 지겨라 다 개체슈드 지 제와지연한 안 티토는 까메슈고 되면은 이 삼수식 시고스라
So, if you could kind of tell me what are your expectations or what you wanted to hear at this particular session, if you have any thing that you wanted me to speak about, then I can definitely talk about that. Otherwise, I'll just share my thoughts.
가버디 was some problem there? No. Sound is okay? It's okay? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
It's good. It's good. We can hear you well. Geshela, thank you. I know you're going to talk more during the retreat for Refuge and Bodhisattva about the Bodhisattva vows, but I wondered if you would like to say something about the Bodhisattva vows today.
Disons que sani tanda sanjula tanda chanji senpeki tomba shiage di yorwa. Chitan di kola genki sundo kaure ini ya tiring ani tat yang chanji senpeki tombe kola chik sungnas.
That's truly tomorrow. Not today. That's tomorrow. Number some mamuji jesha mamuji jemadosra. The kizi savadoina and some such. Then I will pay those.
So among the audience, there are several familiar faces, and there are also, it seems, there are a few new attendees. So if you could share your thoughts, tell me what you wanted to hear, then I can also talk about that topic.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you. This is my first time attending, and I guess, do you have any beginner tips on somebody who's right at the beginning of their journey of understanding Buddhism to put into daily practice?
원한 드링 딜라 자데 팀 당부 인스가 아니 된자니 내 당부와 찍라 다직 가서 남전스러 거든데 그러나요 나치 대충이 내 당부와 찍라
Konda.
라 뭐나 the chara the thing tang veis ra ne le bo nang chu le shunge ta le thang bo chik la ni mixi gi lam den de karina yonas le thang bo chik la
Yeah. Yeah, with those ani shembaye another.
any other
Hi, this is my second time here. I'm curious about refuge and what refuge actually means in a Buddhist terminology, or I'm also, in my context, I'm looking to find mentors in my life in a conscious way. And I'm wondering how refuge sort of falls into that field of mentorship.
yes. Koran tirin di cha di thing mani ba di sa gela thing mani ba di ane Koran gi tanda nang pe gi tan lu lu tangan su jamru se ju ro jamru se di ane kodyen khari me di chi sung ru chis an chana ichidan Koran tanda tam chik shini tin su ri di kola tenang chi ne chik adende chi di gi yus chidan ta jamru di ane shini tin su gi nang lo la kandis su gi re yana tiki nangdo la dan rewa khanda suyo se jo ragi tiko la chisung ru chis.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
Hello and thank you. How would the Buddha comment on the changes that are happening in the world today?
Kosa.
No, tanda ta kisi sanji chumdi di tanda chik yangyu chumba ina peba ina ro se ora tanda zamling nanglo la nyuwa re dinde mangbo chi tonga shito tiko la sanji ki karika nang sik res.
Yeah. Good. More.
Anyone else?
Chitoja.
Okay.
Hello. I've been coming up here for about 25 years and I've seen a lot of changes, and I just wanted to say thank you for continuing the blessings for this space and place. Thank you.
Welcome. Kosa.
Chiwa chan re me do sam skila.
Yeah. Kalas.
Could you repeat one more time? I
Monde
think
lo nyu sanga si jela le ro lase.
Bit closer. Okay. I've been coming up here for about 25 years, and I've seen many numerous activities and refuges in this space. And I just wanted to say thank you for preserving it and continuing. Thank you.
yes. Na monata pijin lo ni sanga giring la de la te yang siang si chat ne de chi de wins. And the ring la and tanda and la lishi du so mutune ro te ware che na ya da du so mutune tu kinjon na de na dus tel tu chi shweins.
That's my job. Da chanzu chua samzu yaku pendosra. Ani ngege re tangi meze nyamnyong dang jevi toni. Ani samzu kashi shuchosra.
All the questions and comments are really excellent. I'll try to comment on it um, um, in tune with my own experience.
Tani da chidang zambilin la ya da chuluk mambu yore, tangan shugo mara chuluk mambu yore. 아니 출루 랑랑기 아니 템반 담인 춘치니 아니 직 출루 랑랑라야 아니 직 이제의 대바 영인기 아니 가서가 다직 밤메셀라야 아니 팬도 드르딩이 다 샤다로지 지단 차기 열어왔으라
So we all know that there are many religious traditions in this world, and many different teachers have appeared, and they all, in fact, teach their respective devotees to benefit the devotees.
테니 당안주 남베 출루디 템버 첸니 달로니동 용라라야 달로니동 죽게 삼성기 아니 로르기지 송고 열어왔으라 테니 콩 도망 첸니 테니 다 도식 nganzuta dromi zu ta dromi gi ani dedulaya sichene ani chenyamlen cheyabadi ani tembi namtarla devanda ta siu shuyores teni dus dedula siwondi ani devad dunghar sayadi ani gyudan kenla teni ani chongjawa yimbadi 다 rigbi lamni da drup thugu yorasara nganzu mig thonya ji nawe koya lug reya kanji ane zugda chura reja kanda jing bayna ane gyugin san yungu yobatan gyugin mansan yungu meba di ya ane riglam di thoni she ondi ane chi ji zugda chura inari ane nangi ji ane chowa dedu tanyang kanda jigin bayna ya ane gyuda kenla teni gyugin jila teni yungu yoba tenyang ko zhongzhe ki gyugin ani tsana drebudu chugu yoba gyugin mansana drebudu yungu meba di ani ngonsum du sichini ani di shila shachini ani namba sangi bigita chu di son yoba di gyacha gyatamba reyesi.
Um, so Buddha came to this world more than 2,600 years ago, and he taught a Dharma. He taught his teachings based on the human experiences of happiness and sadness. So if you look at the life of Buddha, you can clearly see that his teachings are in fact based on his own experiences of his own experiences, the happiness that we seek, and the kind of sadness or unpleasant things that we do not desire are all kind of come about from its causes and conditions. There is nothing whatsoever which is not kind of produced by its causes and conditions, whether it's the external things that we see, such as sound, smell, taste, whatever external things that we see, or our inner experiences and feelings. All of these are in fact come about from its own respective causes and conditions, and therefore when the conducive causes and conditions are accumulated, then its result will also come. So therefore Buddha logically try to kind of explain that all external things and inner experiences are caused by its respective conditions and causes.
Tizada ani gyunjek diyan 지 tumbi gyu jila deni tumbi gin driven jongo ya min tumbi gyu la deni ani min tumbi driven jongo meba di dingu yu chago rasira dingu bi ne lu taw natural sigla da di chago rasira ranjong chago ra da ro dinza this sungor this sungor asra this sungodas.
And then when we talk about causes and conditions, the causes and conditions should be concordant with its results. If the causes are not concordant, then it cannot simply produce its result. So therefore, it's kind of a natural that concordant causes could only produce concordant results.
Teni that's all the deva druyada dungar sayagi ani tablam sangi korangi deva druyada dungar sayagi tablam niechine di nyamsul lembale teni ani tartuk devi kompanti ani tobio rasra tendigi ani deva druyada dungar sayagi tablam shinji malawa korangi nieshawa di ta nganzula ya lamden chebainza dele sangi ki chus 대두 대와 드비야기 탑신지 말로바 때야 동ар세야기 탑신지 말로바 그게 다 땡샤와 텔라 다 산기기 취스 랍초고라스라.
So therefore, Buddha taught different means of achieving the happiness that we seek and different means of discarding the sufferings that we do not desire. So this method could be understood as Buddha Dharma or Buddha's teaching. So Buddha's teaching is all about kind of implementing means to achieve happiness that we seek, and implementing kind of means to eliminate the suffering that we do not want.
그래서 다 산기 가르송도 셋 대버드비야기 탑 가르송도 동아세야기 탑 간다지 땡도 안디 디 장바델라야 아니 산기기 취 장바세디 딜랍초고다스라 지단ችን 디고고다스다 디레스라.
So Buddhism is all about understanding means and method to implement the means to achieve happiness and to implement the means to eliminate suffering, and kind of studying this could be understood as studying Buddha Dharma.
다들이 디 도마 장야라야 아니 대화 세계된 가르레 둥할 가르레스야 디 디페 계층부 샤고레스 라 nganzu devan deba tang dunghar men deba di nganzu semkom gi ta chi tengi gi ta rangshen soru jirwa ta ra nganzu tanda nganzu deva degu yo mari gar devan degu yo re dunghan degu yo mari nima chigla nganzu dunghar gongen ji da deva mungo ngen ji chagre wasna di chag mara wasta ra pena thirub khadzu sun gyuwan roba ina ya zambalin digi netsu khadzu sun gyuwan roba ina ya deva ta dunghar men debi gi ani lengi gi rangshen negre ma do telan gyuwan roya yo marwas ra.
So the fact that we all want happiness and do not want suffering is a innate kind of nature, innate desire, or innate or kind of quest, and that will never change over time. For the time, we always want happiness and do not want suffering, and with the changes of time, there will never come a time where we want suffering and we do not want happiness. Such things will never occur.
다 딘자 아니 다 대와도 둥가르 실라원디 만주 치 응우부 취직 책이요 말했어 메타저라 만주 대와도 둥가르 세도 서로와지 그런다스 서로와디 난 샘단 제와 유비기 아니 다 취직 책을 마도 아니 칠로그 단 제와스 김도 왔다라 데둑슬라운디 난 샘단 제와 유비기 아니 계제직 시기요라스 당 샘다 제와 예비기 초바 데두 디기 규 쪼디 카르스라운디 샘랑 토니 용거마도 아니 출로고 유기 토니 디기 아니 녜렌 체바디 요마레스 겐 용초거레스 베낭안즈 다 로도 제타바야나 로도 아니 녜렌 쪼디 seven dirhemado chumare tremare samare was. Inaya chuda trade sala sobagi, and in dribble loto kiagi ken chigures. Nyeli chigio maras. Did the chigba. Ra, Manzu Sorwa Devakia, the Dungas Yongyagi, and it candy chi you kenchi choramato, Nyeling Zodi, Sam Koranton Yongores.
So when we talk about happiness and suffering, it is crucial to recognize that happiness and sadness is not something that we seek outside. They are not kind of external things, but rather happiness and suffering is a kind of experience or inner experience or a state of mind. So therefore, it is related with our own inner experience. So, since happiness and suffering is an inner experience, their causes should come from within. We can't seek happiness outside. However, external things could be conditions for happiness and sadness, but that cannot be the main substantial cause of happiness and sadness. For instance, um, if we plant something, the substantial cause of whatever we are planting is the seed of that, and then the water, heat, and other things are conditions for that kind of seed to germinate. So similarly, there could be external things could be conditions for our happiness and sadness, but that cannot be the ultimate substantial cause for happiness and suffering.
Things the Sanjum then the Unzi Chundi, Pena Dungar Gitsawadi, Dungar Ginjonkong di, and Numung Singedelia, Chagdan Numulaya, Tugyobati, Sigures. Chagdan Numung Gitsawadia, Mumba Mishibi Wanki. Maribi wangi chagdan kiechini, ti wangi ani lesson ani chawa marunwat. Chagdangi wangi jen nebi ki chawa. Da kanji matangi chawa di shorgudu asara. Tenzan zambili nanglo laya, gyawramji ki takba sungore. Nganzu zambili nanglo laya, mangpo chi mi zubi dunga resha se, dirwata. Mi zubi dunga karisana, ani pigi chagdan shuk chenpi wangi, ani chakdo dan dansam la soba shuk chenpi wangi teni mang chuk shoya la soba ani jing barze soya la soba yonsu soba di yakpo cheba cheba ina chakdang rangi wangi dansam rangi toni yungu yor mado deli gyugin shenpa kanya yo marwas tinza da duzu tsama kaya gi ka gogo yo ba ina mi gyugi chakdang nimu di ka gogo mado nganzu gyugi chakdang nimu ka matukba ina di wangi chongwe ani chawa marungwa di kadu na ka tuk mares. Di sanji chomden di lo nidon chugi konglan zambuli na pevne songwa re yangya pewa ina di songri mato dili lagaji nge samna kanya songya yo mares. Ngubi niluk di sanji lo nidon chugi kongi kabgi ngubi niluk di dandayan dagara degri mato dili yuwa kanya yo mares. 안 산지 좀 된디 송바이나 ngubi niluk dan tombajik tone shegri mato niluk dan muntumbi gyunsen mebi tamji kaduyna song mares. Yanya pevna song mares. Hari song yo mares.
So therefore, the sufferings that we do not want, the root cause of the suffering is kind of attachment and and hatred and other destructive emotions, and they are yet again caused by fundamental ignorance. So fundamental ignorance, the root cause of all suffering, and because of such fundamental ignorance, we commit a negative karma, or we commit wrong actions, destructive actions. And because of that, there are so many kind of sufferings and problems that we witness in the world. So His Holiness the Dalai Lama often says that many of the sufferings and the problems that we see in the modern world are in fact man-made problems. So they are man-made because they are primarily caused by humans ourselves. And if you kind of analyze the sufferings and the kind of destructive situations, many of them are primarily caused by attachment or hatred or other destructive emotions. So a destructive emotion, negative emotion, always caused such destructive actions. And also the sufferings and other kind of major problems such as ongoing wars and so on and so forth, they are also caused by hatred or anger or other destructive emotions. So if you wanted to uh, kind of uh, stop such um, um, kind of issues, we must kind of stop the inner destructive emotions. So long as we couldn't control the human destructive emotions, we can't control the destructive actions that they commit. So if we wanted to put an end to the destructive actions, we must put an end to the destructive emotions that are kind of the primary cause of such destructive actions. So Buddha taught this more than 2,600 years ago, and even if he were to come again, I think he would say the same thing. He would teach the same thing. So the teachings that he gave more than 2,600 years ago is still relevant to this day, and whatever he taught. And his teachings are based on the reality and truth. So therefore, his teachings still remain relevant.
다 당당 안속이 가르쳐 왔다. 더 넘버 산기비기 비기 따지 더 넘버 뭐마지기 samdang chiondigi ani nganzugi pena ngartawi ta ani semdi hachangi taji chakdan nyumugu drupde yobanza ani sangi jetugu yobmar mado sangi tandayinaya shug yobadi kilengi yores sangi shug yore sangi pewi yore sangi nganzu tendo sangi bari nganzu tendo sangi chinetini ani labayina nganzu tendo sangi godenro de trumasonasira nganzu tendo sangi chini shug yobanza nganzu tendo pewi yores nganzu tendo kapkolaya ani chi number dami gitone pena gyawar muchi tabo sangi ngo chagores tanda gyawar muchi kang song deba di sangi ngo gu song re mado di dagat tsawni ni mares yakbo shimju cheda sangi gu song shabi gi tachi ani pod gyalhag jore di gonden da gyawar muchi gi nima takba song de gi tanda nibo di chigpa chigjan yore mado kepa putsam yo mares 다 안전 두 때원디 제당기 미지 아니 지 베베 자와 끼마지 소리지 마도 지 산기 응의인 바디 지기요 말아왔디 딩 안주 만지 바래 마도 디 산기 마인 바 딘디 카야 말했어 카야 말했어 이나다 딘디 지 남베 저 마페 와이나 안주 디야 아니 송데 고투고요 말했어 다디 남방 엄마지 따단디 디레스 네 디켈렌 투그리 가시 투구 말 디카요 말레스 간스는 간주 켈렌 마도 간주 소수군 통 마도나 켈렌 투에 칼카 보러 왔으러
And then, according to the kind of Buddhist belief, Buddha attained enlightenment for the sake of certain beings. So we believe that he's still, he's still there, but our mental continuum, our mind is defiled by kind of defiled by negative thoughts, negative emotions, or negative impurities. Because of that, we are not able to perceive Buddha. Otherwise, if we could kind of purify our negative thoughts, impurities from our mind, then we could still encounter and see Buddha. Otherwise, since Buddhas have attained enlightenment, and after attaining enlightenment, if you were to kind of disappear, it wouldn't make any sense for attaining enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. However, Buddhas would appear in many different forms to benefit sentient beings. Sometimes he would appear in the form of one's spiritual mentor, such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So the words and the teachings of His Holiness is exactly kind of same as what Buddha taught earlier. However, when we usually associate with His Holiness, many people would only associate with him as a kind of a typical Tibetan Buddhist monk, but that doesn't mean he's not, in fact, a real Buddha. So therefore, there are times where we could accept this concept, and there are times we couldn't accept such concepts. But the truth is, Buddhas would appear in many different forms to benefit others.
Tene tanto dini zibi lo tukji kongla ani janggolama tsungaba chenpo jabalo san chakba kong peba res. Sanji ngore mado ani kai mari ta ko turub rere nanglo la ya ani chik sanji ngoge zeba zedingi ani kiwu tangba keba wari pebgo wares. Rwa lo tukji kongla ya peo kanjen jongla ya ani janggolama tsungaba chenpo sayad kong peba res. Sanji ngores rwa. Sanji ngo yinba di 아니 콩기 송포도 접게 될이야 로브종 약부 제바나다 더 산기 응어인 바디 패시 똑똑 그래서 나다 한 바퀴는 말했어 딘디야 이네 양 안주 딱 안주 소소소 있다 아니 레다 말놈 그 제베토니 아니 딘제 툭 마툭 쌈툭 마도 연구여레스
Um, and then similarly, Lama Tsongkhapa also came to this world more than 600 years ago. And if you look at his kind of accomplishment, we could also clearly understand that he is not different from Buddha. So in fact, if you also look at his 18 volumes of his works and writings, we can clearly see that he is in fact Buddha. However, depending on our karmic connections and our kind of aspirations, there are times that we could kind of perceive him as Buddha, and then maybe sometimes we also couldn't kind of perceive him as Buddha, depending on our karmic connection.
tadi 다 미치기 미세 나올라야 미세 강보로 안 디토 로브종 치용데 니 서로직 레요라더라 페나 소소드라버진다 로축직 중이 니체네테니 장골라마 쓴거 받침비 송테 당불론진치 식도즈 론진치 아니 디 된단 데시에테니 게위싱잉드니슈 아니 상로당 또 진다 미세 로 롱업중앙아타 나둑 sem거 디바드 아니 레바인스라 당원의 단내기다 상징의 임바디 샘나라야 독보코라 매교치 더 단다이나다 아니 지 마젤하마 카즈스 데요나 디르라 단다이나 델라장 디노다니 드로섬섬라시마도 사원이 요마르와스 딘디기다 아니 간지 용구도스라 상징의 임바디 자차 자담 켈렌 토야지 용구도 통마 담보 장원디 서버스 개요 말하다 무즈즈다 자와순가 바스라 믹스마 켜치 치온디 소소 딩냠데 지 체데마도 비 샘딩니 비 아니 대등 원네 잔네 레도 삼성 가즈스기 비 아니 지 리베 톤 삼노 담바이나야 간두 싸워니니 메바치 장바이나 장바이나 용구로 왔으라
So, for someone who has dedicated most of his life kind of studying and reflecting on the writings of Lama Tsongkhapa would clearly feel feel this. For instance, I've started memorizing the works of Lama Tsongkhapa as early as when I was around 11 years old. And then after memorizing the root text, then I received teachings from my respective teachers, and then later also contemplated and reflected on the such profound meanings. And now it's almost 56 years of age. And through this kind of experience over the years, one could clearly kind of see that Lama Tsongkhapa, in fact, is Buddha himself. I have no doubt about that, based on my own experience and studies. However, when you, initially start learning about Lama Tsongkhapa, you may not be able to, his writings may not resonate with you that much. But over time, the more you explore, the more you study, the more clearly you will see that he's in fact inseparable from Buddha.
테니 디르다 탁다 페나다 롱바 디다오 짐바이나 지당기 다 롱바 약부로 와서 라 먼저 다 난추 토니 셰바이나 아니 난주슈 다리오 마르마도 지당기 직 아니 먼저다 드로미기 다 디지 신디기 디지 드당 토니 셰바이나 아니 벤조단 튕겐다 직 로종 간지 테니다 부숨 소바로 와서 인생 안주 다지 땅 로종 그배 아니 미 야샤다 만슈데레 로종 그 셀론데와 딘디 차고 알아서라 딘디 준 투사 롱바 딘디로 와서라 데 딘디 로종 그 땅 로종 그야 셀론딩기 미지기 아니 지 난슈 토라야 로종 때 시긴 바이나 아니 난슈 약슈디 쌈마디 차야기 레와 빼침부여레스
And then, if you look at this country, although Buddha Dharma did not flourish that much in this country, however, in general, this is a very kind of good country where there are many good facilities to deliver our basic human needs, and majority, I mean, almost everybody is, very well educated. So therefore, when your kind of, education background is kind of really good, then if you could pay some attention to the Buddhist thoughts and philosophy, then you can in fact become a very ideal student of Buddha Dharma.
데르다 드라 지 난줄레야 동만 제디 소소 동만 레바디 디 소소 남주레스 땡에 삼네 소소 남주레스라 난줄레야 동만 제 난줄 장바이나 디기 소소 메세 나올 팽그르마도 자와니니 네그마레스라 얘네 난줄 장니 인지민이 남바 제거레스야디 네 나랑 그 서로 나올라야 쇼지기 개첨부스기 통구문도스 가이스나 아니 소수 리액션리 소수 코유리 아직 소수 남리 간지 토네 페길이야 아니 뛰는 로고야 여반상 직 람상 아니 가르서다지 아니 출루디 규리샤바이나 아니 삼삼 강한 태지 용구라스라 아주 난슈 치야디 강한 세야기 쳐들이 마도 강한 태야기 쳐도 말아와서라 장바이나 nanchu jambayanan di lobkera gres. Lobkera gres. Ani susu logo damazun che yung gres. An di hendo gyachenbu ji tun tu gro. Yanchi 소소 판미는 막 규비겠지 아니 출루도 샤체니 다디 야부 말에 다디다 달 넘바 야그도세 디손라 친 나온치 제바나 아니 롬바 딘딜라 싸워니니 고데 여사 말에 상고도스라 다딩가 로 디비 로 축지 기타 냠뇽라지라다 텔레 소소 나온치 야부 장지 안 디톤 롭게 가르래 여버도 소소 렌지 피기 아니 찌소 고 소소 찌소 가임바디 디다 냠도 드샤와이나 직진의 편도 채용사리스로 등이 서로 인스다.
And then, I think even having some kind of curiosity or rather inquisitiveness or interest about Buddha Dharma indicates your kind of intelligence. So if you could pay attention to Buddha Dharma, that will definitely benefit you, and in order to study Buddha Dharma, Buddhist philosophy, and in order to kind of implement the ideals, you does not really necessarily need to become Buddhist. You can, in fact, incorporate, the principles while remaining kind of, true to one's own original faith, whatever you are kind of following. So we always need to live in accordance with different kind of environment, different situations. So therefore, sometimes when we convert to other faith, it often causes kind of issues and problems. So the whole point of studying and practicing Buddha Dharma is to eliminate such problems. Then if converting to Buddhism cause even additional problems, then it's not serving the purpose. So therefore, try to learn the concept, try to incorporate the beneficial points, incorporate and translate them into one's own life. And then sometimes it's even better while remaining true, committed to one's own original faith. And then if you could practice or incorporate beneficial Buddhist concepts, it may kind of better serve the purpose.
양갑걸라 아니 지기 소수 남미리 소수 파마리 소수 다 부부를 사망하겠지 아니 소수 남발에 슈바에 나타 갑규 칭이 갑규 영이 아니 지 역자 맹이 아니 소소이나 베 가신 트로징이 여바나 다디 다 약슈 들어와서 넘버 7다 약슈 들어와서
However, if you are kind of totally committed and ready to become Buddhist, and if your family members also fully support your decision to become a Buddhist, then of course you can do so.
데니다 넘버 7에 통마 디다 겨울무지 가든 순거레스다 남치도 못쳐고야디 남치도 못쳐치니 데니 넘버 7이 바이나 다 약부 페요레스 로 데부 페요레스 더라 아 레라고 요 말다 가리나 레가 가리나 레라고 뭐다 남치 지엘이야 지 강가 망보질이야 동네지는 로고야 딘디 용고요레스 디 용고레티 맞은 sen digi degi che de imba ya kangale donle chen man ro ba na an dig mo do asera pena sa sang ji gi nyam du de go chong na ya tel kangal donle zaw ni che ma do na nyam du de tu mo do asera dire ta ta nan chu ji ngo che bi to ni nan chu che gi ba na kangal che yung ri kangal donle che ba de la ya sem din ni tro ji yong ye ji yo re asera o digo da nganzo digo go yo re.
And then in many occasions, His Holiness talks about the importance of kind of fully understanding the Buddhist principles before, in fact, formally subscribing or entering to a Buddhist. So when you become a Buddhist by fully aware of the Buddhist concept, then it's a way better than kind of entering the Buddhist path without fully knowing things. So in this process, there might be cases where we need to kind of, we may face challenges in this process, but if we understand the overall picture, then it will be even kind of easier to cope with such situations. So in life, there will be times where we need to face such challenges, and we must be kind of ready to face such challenges. So without kind of these challenges, without the commitment, without the, I would say, without the will to face these challenges, we won't be able to achieve much. So therefore, it's really crucial to first fully understand the overall picture, overall kind of framework of Buddha Dharma, and then maybe you could formally enter the path.
일단 남주 뭐 만트니다 남바체 나제 마초에다 케요 말이냐 템부스 케만도 아스라 템부스 케요 말 니마치는 규르시그레스 먼저 지존나 여라다 남바치인스 나 로초가 드로송 로 니슈 드로송 나 남바치 당가 남바샤기 세딘데 용구 여라스라 카요 말 간서 비기디 뭐 만트디 테니 가드나 자 우주 잡는 로고 촌나 깔레카보로 왔으라 샘 나사소에 년가요라 펜토야 sableya semla neyag nyenga yora tinza ta shaya itini yungora da ta ngoji trebaina kaddu ne shasig mares da shasig mares ro kyaran ta kharso ta sig dia godo mondu da yan kyaran dongla ya menda tseni kyaran nam ba shago slabaina sem din ne zawani ne shag mares da shag mares ro o dindi yong yor ta dindi yong tu gres ro.
So, even if somebody kind of enters a Buddhist path, formally enters becoming a Buddhist without fully understanding the kind of framework, then one's practice may not become stable. We often sometimes see people saying that they've been a Buddhist for around 15 years or even more so, and now they are kind of converting or renouncing the Buddhist path and so on and so forth. So such cases occur because they enter the path without fully knowing the basic framework of Buddhist path. So therefore, it's really crucial to first fully aware and understand the Buddhist framework or the Buddhist path, and then if you could formally enter the Buddhist path, then our practices will become stable. Then even if somebody kind of force you to renounce Buddhist path, you wouldn't do so because you truly understand the framework.
다 penang anzu nasa di jigwar taro amji gi pigi nasa di ngusini ani nasa di makok na ta kera shigres la wandi tene nasa di koya la susu subu shakchu jigo chona subu gi pigi ani chashi mambu ji pe ani tub yugo chona ya gashin troshin toni ani che tuya kok tuya ji yungo rasara tete jigwares nanchu ngontre wandi ani nyumung singi di pangsha yinpa tang nyumung sebi seba yoba jik pigita ani riglam gu toni ngoju treba na ani ta kadina gyodro mares nyumung pangya ga chedu kali dongne kadu zi chego chona ya sem dingni gawa chik trowa jik toni yungu yores ngone da namba tse toshu dila digo gu dasara.
um, so for instance, if we are diagnosed with some kind of illness, And if when doctors, kind of inform you about a particular condition a medical condition that you might have, then after knowing that, we will be ready to undergo any pain and kind of difficulty in order to kind of treat the root cause of that illness. Even if we were to undergo surgeries, which may inflict lots of pain on our physical body, but we will be willingly kind of do so because we fully understand um, the possibility of complete recovery from that illness, and for that we will be ready to undergo any pain that might cause during the process. So similarly, if we fully understand and aware and understand the Buddhist framework, and then we realize that the ultimate cause of all problems is the afflictive or destructive emotions, and and there is a possibility of eliminating all destructive emotions. So once we fully understand this process, then we will be ready to undergo any hardship that we may encounter in the process of eliminating the destructive emotions.
There's the things are Jaya the bay. Are you going? Oh, sorry. I need to give to you answer. Okay. I'm so sorry. I think I'm too late. See you next time. Good. Posad Rosa. Cheva Jamdro Kola Chotan. Tirda Antinzam, the Nanju Giant the big kitchen Bureshas. Lobjong Setes, Yongi, Nanchu Chik Janda. Any Nanchu Tebambor, so that's any Denshila Soba. Any Odindi Tolia, any Chadeb in the Mambores. Odindi la Chik Letambo, Dindi la Chik Janda, Tini Gashi Yatamba, any Chik Susula Chik Legiors, that are Semna, that the only Resha Sambi. Soraji Lebaina, Tenita Susu Lamgaji Tongro.
So therefore, as beginners, it's really important to study about Buddha Dharma and try to kind of read more books about Buddha Dharma. For instance, there are many books that are meant for beginners level that clearly and explains basic concepts such as Four Noble Truths. So if you could read such books and try to improve one's understanding of Buddha Dharma, then definitely it will even create more enthusiasm.
That Tio Shambadi, that Tio Tang in the mid Drosa Kansas Shesasra.
So now the person who asked the question has already left. It will be a bit weird to kind of answer that.
Here's the Tio Shamba US.
So if you have any other questions, we can.
Yeah. Please.
You point to the ultimate cause of suffering, the afflictive emotions. Some say is identifying with that which is in the way of conflictive emotions.
Kosan.
Could you repeat the second part? Some says identifying.
Some say that the ultimate cause of suffering is identifying with that which is in the way of conflictive emotions.
Identifying the way.
Identifying with something that has the afflictive emotions,
And
like small self identity. No. Identifying as a self that has these emotions and not the emotions themselves.
Translate a headache. Your question is, I think, very difficult.
Yeah, self-identifying. Yeah, can you make it more specific?
1 minute.
Yeah. The interpreter's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's more of a challenge. The ultimate, you're saying definitively, the ultimate cause of suffering is the afflictive emotion. And I've heard a teaching that says the ultimate cause of suffering is identifying with something that you're not. Yes. Yeah. Well, no, the question would be, is that the ultimate cause of suffering, or are the afflictive emotions the ultimate cause of suffering? Yeah. Yeah. Identifying. Yeah. Yeah. Not the problem. I'm saying identifying that the action of identifying, that's what I've heard the teaching that says that is the ultimate cause of suffering. Identifying, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so he is coming back. Yep, that's good.
It is, but that
Alessa.
let's do what the traffic and get lolly shit or something.
Again.
I'm sorry, I missed that point.
Yeah, ko yang jatang sa.
So you said that the ultimate cause of suffering is the afflictive emotions. I'm asking, could it not be that the ultimate cause of suffering is identifying, or the ignorance of identifying with a self that doesn't exist?
Right. Tanda gengi tende sungzus ta ngazo kasa nyomong sanamido kangi ki dungi ki tsawadi ani nyomong reslan sungsus ani kansa dungi ki tsawadi ta dangzin sanamido di chagiyo marves.
Dangzin di nyumung nang lo yores.
Naso.
Re. Dangzin nyumung re ma
So,
nyumung loks mara. Ta nyumung sila di tsangma sun di ro gore tara.
naso. So the identifying the self that does not exist or grasping itself is also one of the afflictive emotions. And afflictive or destructive emotion is a kind of generic term which could be applied to all of those destructive thoughts or emotions.
일단 가서 단디는 균들라다 lazy chechen labsha gyure madara pa giwushe banada ani nyumung slaundi chi ming rojre doda nyumung nangwa kariyor tsawa mari bares ani denin deja shedan kondronga ge tadolo sobata di ani duchni yungota du sangolola ya chi ming de la nyumung segorasra.
Yes. So if we try to be more precise, then definitely, when we say nyomong or afflictive emotions, this is a kind of generic term for all, which applies to all such destructive or negative emotions. And the root of all this is the fundamental ignorance, which give rise to other destructive emotions, such as hatred and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Tanda chidang gila te nyomong tanda kunzu inji nangla tanda nyomong ki ketwe la afflictive emotion da wachik lagi ra.
What
Di ki yang nyomong di takta chi chabgu yasa mara kanla emotion la di kunzu ketwe la chik tsorwa da tsam chik samla korgi dwa. Digi.
Tikaralada.
Yes. So sometimes I think there is also an issue with the translation using the word afflictive emotions as an equivalent for nyomong or klesha in Sanskrit, because when we say afflictive emotions, we only associate that with an emotional component, or if we say destructive emotions, we all again associate with only an emotional component. But the Tibetan term nyonmong has a connotation kind of which is much how to say much larger than just an emotional component, but also but we need to think whenever we use the term afflictive emotions or destructive emotions, we need to think that there is the equivalent of the Tibetan term nyomong or the klesha.
단데 디 강가 딩안조 벽에 나올라야 통마 강가 디 땡땡 총여라서라 이나 다 로자와른 비 균치네 테니 아니 레이저 게네 쏘다 겨탄 다 아니 케바 망보고 테니 겨치네 다 로똥차 니 사마섬 그릴라야 아니 규주 대진 다 단디차라 다 직축 직다 아니 축슈디 다지 계육 성분 안에 다 추식 축슈디 아니 러 나란다게 다 추기 팀마메비게 다지 축슈디 아니 벽에 돌려요 와서라 다 인게 돌려줄래야 다 카르타스타 사바 쇼지라 다 인자 아니 디 몽발라다 베케시므라다 러 양니한테 귤드 쥐야디 베케시므 인사 상고도 당에데 케싱 마르마다 서로디유스.
So, the issues with the language also comes, for instance, when Buddhism was first translated into Tibetan languages, a Tibetan language, we also face similar issues with the usage of certain terms and coins. But later, more than now 2000 years, we have been kind of updating and standardizing the terms. And now, maybe the most richest language that captures the Nalanda tradition in a surviving language would be Tibetan language. So the thing is that I think it's really crucial to update and standardize the terms over time. And with that, the confusions with regard to the usage of terms in proper context will also that will also kind of improve over time.
여기다 뭐라고 이 맞추거든요. pepe pugu anjik rikpa yakbu, changbu. Ngone dadi lobzhong chini shinsari sange, ani pugu mangbu tani gyagal tangche. Ani lobzhong chi chu gyaga ki datri la soba yung, soba la yung, lobzhong chi, ani gyaga ki chue jang. Tani tsu yung, ani peke tola gyuri. Ani gyursa ki peke daji dagyur loben links la wandi, ani mikse ki tani karsawa daji labda tindi tsukchin. Dindi cheyo rasara. Dindi kadile teni da, ane chik pyoge nanglo la ya cha, sangwa chik le tuya di, dindi re do asara. Da mangba dindi dawa chik yongba ina, da kale kawara ma dindi dawa chik yongba ina, bena zanda chuji chungi tuan tsengi ngi da, chik lo shunshi yakbu, dindi. Ane chik pyoge rangi, ane gyabsaki chisok dindi lan rochi lobchong che, ane digi da, ane ngone pyoge da, nambi gi gyawram chik song nanshin chik nambi shinyun tseri ki denzen tozo ane jangni da dini susu magi di ingiri ane pyoge chima chinshi jangchin dini dorchin su gyuyagi dini chik mazu na inji tola dandi chala da kalakabu do asirwa manzu kanni rik mambu chik danga da inji shingo mardi na pata andi ratraya kalakabu yasar samgu dosi.
Yes. So if you look at the history of Tibet in the ancient time, we have dedicated, we have put a lot of effort to translate the these thoughts into Tibetan language. We have selected, recruited bright young students and sent them to India to learn Sanskrit and Buddhist philosophy. And then later, after the completion of their training and studies, they return back to Tibet and become translators. And now, since they are fluent and they have mastered both languages, they become well versed in both languages, not only languages, but also in the philosophy. And then such kind of candidates will become the perfect to translate from one language to another, because they are they are well versed in both languages. So similarly, ancient time, there are kind of departments which are exclusively dedicated to translate ancient Sanskrit text into Tibetan language. So similarly, it might be difficult and unrealistic, but if we could still initiate such programs to train young translators, it would be really nice. For instance, after completing your high school, then if you could send some bright students to Tibetan speaking communities and learn the language and the philosophy, then later, since your mother tongue is English, they could become really good translators. Otherwise, it's really difficult to capture certain nuances and concepts of Buddhism into English, because Buddhist concept has been kind of translating into English fairly late. So therefore, there are still many rooms to improve that.
Thank you so much. And I give your answer is tomorrow.
Final Lamrim prayer, page 9 in a small booklet. From my two types of merits vast a space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a grand land of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons, may all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtues practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. And I pray for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Incomparably kind and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life and all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And pray for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious lost Sang Father and Sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, and of the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in a glory for fortunate disciples. Thank you very much. And just one announcement. This weekend we have a retreat weekend with Geshe Tsultrimla, and Geshela will be offering the Bodhisattva vows, commentary, and refuge and Bodhisattva vows. And it's only for those who joining in person, and for those who already took Bodhisattva vows or wish to take them this weekend. So this Sunday public teaching at 10:30 will be no available, but the next public teaching will be on Friday, next Friday. Thank you very much.